She doesn't wake up to check her phone, she wakes up to check in with herself. A high-value woman doesn't roll out of bed. She rises like royalty, like fire, like a storm in slow motion. And if you think being high value is about money, makeup, or men, darling, you're playing the wrong game. You want to be unforgettable? It starts the moment your feet hit the floor. These 5 habits aren't cute routines. They're daily rituals that build an empire, starting with you. Before the buzz of messages, before the chaos of alarms, before the world has a chance to interrupt her, she pauses. She breathes. She chooses herself. That's not just a habit. That's a mindset. A revolution. A woman who chooses to greet herself before anything or anyone else is a woman who refuses to be run by the world. Most people wake up in panic, grabbing their phones, scrolling through problems that aren't even theirs yet. Texts, emails, notifications. Before they've even had a sip of water, they've consumed 100 voices, not one of them their own. And that's exactly how they lose themselves. In pixels, in pressure, in everyone else's life. But a high-value woman, she's different. She doesn't rush to check what the world wants from her. She takes a moment to ask, what do I need from me today? That question alone separates the queens from the crowd. She opens her eyes and meets herself in silence, in stillness. She places her hand over her heart, not to be dramatic, but to feel that she's alive, and to remind herself, this heartbeat, this breath, this body, it belongs to me. Before it belongs to any deadline, any man, any demand. Take the example of a mother who barely gets 5 hours of sleep, juggling her kids, her job, and her home. Most would say she doesn't have time for herself. But the high value common, they claim their mornings. Because they understand one thing the average person doesn't. If you don't direct your energy, it'll be drained by default. The world will always be loud. People will always want something from you. But before you respond to any of it, respond to yourself. Meet your eyes in the mirror and speak life. Look at that reflection and say, I see you. I choose you. I'm building something with you. You are the light. You are the sunshine. You are the softness. You are the selfishness. 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 That kind of self-love isn't fluffy. It's fierce. Remember the girl who used to wake up checking if he texted? Not anymore. Now, she checks in to see how she feels, because the woman who greets herself first no longer begs for attention. She attracts it. She doesn't live in reaction. She lives in intention. And it doesn't matter where she is. A messy apartment, a luxury hotel, a shared dorm room. She creates sacred space in her mind. And that space becomes her power. You know why this habit is so rare? Because it requires bravery. It requires facing yourself before you face the day. And most people are afraid of what they'll see. But the high-value woman isn't. She knows her worth isn't found in the world's reaction. It's built in her own recognition. So when she rises in stillness, in softness, in power. She doesn't greet chaos. she greets her own soul. And the world, it can wait. She moves her body like it's sacred, not for the scale, not for a summer dress, not for the gaze of someone who doesn't even deserve her energy. She moves her body because it is hers, her temple, her home, her only permanent address in this life. And when a high-value woman rises in the morning, she doesn't just exist in that body, she honors it. She doesn't punish it for yesterday's choices. She doesn't shame it for how it looks, she celebrates it. She connects with it. She activates it like a queen ready to walk through her kingdom. The world taught women to look at their bodies with judgment. She doesn't buy into that lie anymore. While others step on a scale, hoping to feel worthy, she steps into the morning with intention, knowing her worth isn't measured in pounds. It's measured in presence. She doesn't always hit the gym. Some days, she just rolls out a mat in the corner of her room, lights a candle, and stretches like she's unfolding her strength. To an outsider, it looks like a quiet routine. But inside her, it's a sacred rebellion. Every stretch whispers, "You are here. You are whole. You are worthy now." Think about the woman who works a 9 to 5, barely makes it home before sunset. She's exhausted, burnt out, but she carves out 15 minutes in the morning to walk. Not on her phone, not with music blasting, just her, the air, the rhythm of her breath, the sunglasses on her back, the empty nights to blasting, and then the lights go out. The sun goes down. Not because she can't go any farther, but it's too dark to figure out where it is. That walk is about calories. It's about clarity. It's her walking back to herself. Or picture the single mother who hasn't had a moment of peace in weeks. Kids crying, deadlines looming. But in the early light, before the world pulls at her, she puts on a song that makes her feel alive. She dances, alone, unapologetically. No performance, just power. That movement says, "This is my body, and I don't owe anyone stillness if it costs me my job." Even the entrepreneur who travels constantly, living out of suitcases and airports, she doesn't miss her movement. She finds 5 feet of space and does a short yoga flow. Because to her, motion is not about maintenance, it's about mastery. Her body is a tool, and she sharpens it daily. She doesn't wait for motivation. She moves even when she doesn't feel like it. Because she knows discipline is the language of self-love. Every step, every stretch, every breath is a message to herself. You matter enough to be cared for. You matter enough to be moved. This isn't about fitness. It's about frequency, about realigning her energy. You ever notice how your mind clears when your body moves? That's not coincidence. That's connection. That's how a high-value woman creates emotional resilience through physical rituals. She doesn't chase a body type. She cultivates a body relationship. The kind where she listens to her hunger, respects her rest, and praises her pulse. She doesn't see cellulite, she sees a story. She doesn't resent her curves, she owns them. She walks like every step is a reminder that she survived another day and she's still rising. Even when the mirror lies, even when society screams that she should look a certain way, she moves anyway. Because movement is her meditation, her empowerment, her choice. There are days she lifts heavy. days she runs, days she just lays on her back and breathes into every inch of her being. But whatever the form, the ritual is sacred. It's not for anyone to like. It's not for anyone to validate. Her movement is a ceremony. Her body is not a project. It's a masterpiece in progress. And every morning she chooses to move. She's not just building strength. She's building self-respect. She says no to chaos, yes to clarity. Before the noise creeps in, before the world starts screaming for her attention, she draws a line, a boundary, a decision. A high-value woman doesn't wake up and fall into her day. She commands it. She doesn't let chaos control her. She chooses clarity. She doesn't chase every notification. She doesn't entertain every message. She doesn't respond to drama before she responds to herself. Because she knows this one truth. If you don't protect your peace, someone else will profit from your panic. She opens her eyes, and instead of being pulled by urgency, she creates a moment of intention. A moment of deep breath, of silence, of vision. And that moment is not small, it's powerful. It's how she builds a fortress in her mind before stepping into the battlefield of life. Think of the woman who used to be addicted to chaos, always overcommitting, always pleasing, always saying yes because she was afraid to disappoint. But now she pauses. Now she looks at her schedule and asks, does this align with who I want to be? If the answer is no, it's a no. Not because she's selfish, but because she's self-respecting. Or the girl who used to let toxic texts ruin her entire day. One rude message and her mind would spiral. But today, she turns her phone face down. She lights a candle. She journals. She chooses to pour into herself first, before letting the world sip from her soul. She reminds herself, my peace is not up for auction. Even the corporate leader with back-to-back meetings doesn't just get out of bed and sprint into work mode. She starts her morning with clarity. She looks at her priorities, not just her tasks. She sets her tone before the world sets her pace. Because being busy is not the same as being aligned. She doesn't live in reaction. She leads with intention. She says no to people who drain her energy. Not with anger, not with guilt. With grace. With confidence. With a simple, that doesn't work for me right now. Because she's learned every yes to someone else is a no to herself. And she will no longer betray her peace to please people who wouldn't notice her burnout. You know what's rare? A woman who can sit in silence and not feel uncomfortable. A woman who doesn't need background noise to distract her from her thoughts. That's power, that's clarity, that's discipline. She creates space between her triggers and her choices. That's emotional maturity. That's queen energy. She wakes up and doesn't ask, what do I have to do? She asks, what do I want to feel today? Who do I want to be today? And from that intention, her whole day is designed. She deletes apps if they create noise. She stops checking 5 platforms before breakfast. She closes mental tabs that don't serve her goals. Chaos is addictive. It gives the illusion of importance, but clarity gives you power. The kind of power that isn't loud, but unshakable. The kind that doesn't panic when plans change. The kind that doesn't beg for external validation because it's rooted internally. And even when life throws storms, she grounds herself. She doesn't allow panic to lead her decisions. She takes a pause.